intellectual property and its protection. On the eve of World IP Day, we bring to you an interesting conversation with two very special guests, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav, Mission Director, Atal Innovation Mission, and Ms. Pearl Sopti, Assistant Vice President of CPAM. We also have a young ATL innovator who is much like all of you students watching this live today. This ATL innovator has recently been granted a patent, and he will be sharing his experience with us in today's live as well. My name is Swati Rao. I'm an innovation lead at Atal Innovation Mission, and I welcome you all today. Atal Innovation Mission's objective is to foster entrepreneurship and innovation in the country. The Atal Tinkering Lab initiative of Atal Innovation Mission is a trailblazing vision revolutionizing the education ecosystem. The national education policy also advocates this spirit of tinkering and innovation in the young minds of our country. We at AIM believe that innovation begins early. It is believed that exposure to industrial and corporate environment at a young age will inculcate foundational, interpersonal, and 21st century technology skills in students. In all our competitions that we organize throughout the year, like the ATL Marathon, ATL Tinkerpreneur, and many more such challenges, we continue to see wonderful innovations created by ATL students. These are mindful innovations that actually are helping solve important problems of the community. While this innovation journey is long and challenging, involving many steps throughout the way, such as research, ideation, and finally innovating and implementing that solution, there is a need for students and our teachers and our mentors to understand how they can protect this intellectual work, this ideation, this prototype that they've created. What are their rights when they build such an innovation? This is what we're celebrating when we talk about the World IP Day. And we're doing this through multiple sessions, multiple YouTube lives that will give you that information and those connects that are needed for you to understand this. The World Intellectual Property Day is observed annually on 26th of April, tomorrow. The event was established by the World Intellectual Property Organization in 2000 to raise awareness of how patents, copyrights, trademarks, and designs impact your daily life, and to celebrate the creativity and contribution that all of you creators and innovators make. As part of this World IP Day celebration, AIM, in collaboration with CPAM, has conducted a series of sessions on IPR and will continue to do so. Today is one such session, and we're going to be interacting with our special guests. We have three of them today. Let's start with Dr. Chintan Vaishnav, our mission director. Sir, time and again, we have stressed on the awareness and safeguarding of these intellectual property rights of our students. According to you, can understanding this process, understanding how to safeguard the innovation, promote further innovation? Do you think encouraging students to think out of the box and to be innovative can be achieved if we give them this hand-holding of how to protect the intellectual property rights?
Thank you, Swati, and greetings, everybody. It's great to be with you and to be talking about this very important topic of intellectual property protection. I must also say that tomorrow, which is the World IP Day, is also the foundation day for Atal Innovation Mission, because we were founded also on 26th of April. So happy birthday to the Atal community as well. So yes, to your question, I mean, I think let me wear my innovator's hat and think about it from the perspective of how my early sort of running into the intellectual property rights, how I've come to think about it. Well, first of all, I think, this is the regime under which the world understands the intellectual output in the form of property, its protection, all of that. So depending on the type of problem one is working on, you may you may or may not be interested in protecting your intellectual property. If you're working on something open source, all of that, it's a different set of parameters you're working with. Nevertheless, whether you are protecting something or not, you ought to understand how to protect something. That understanding is very important because you will need it sooner or later. So the sooner you gain it, the better it is. Now, your question of whether aspiring for intellectual property, whether it will lead to more innovation or think of problems in a come up with out of box solutions and so on. So what happens is that, let's say there's a problem in front of you and you want to solve it, and you decide that you want to, while you solve it, you want to solve it in a way where there is some new intellectual property created. Then you are setting yourself up for a much harder sort of goal, right? Because now you will have to look through the history, what is technically known as prior art, to see who has done what, and can you do something really new. This is not an easy thing to do, because there's such a long history of people trying different things. And so in that sense, if you set yourself up for solving a problem in a way where there's intellectual property generated, then you are setting yourself up for a more difficult goal, and therefore you will have to be out of the box. Because in here, the box is the existing intellectual property, right? So you're trying to be outside of it. So yes, indeed, it will push you to be more innovative than otherwise.
Thank you, sir. And this goes on to say something that we've been, insisting in all our competitions, that children, when they think of and pick a problem statement, don't just directly go on to think of solutions, but do your primary and secondary research, understand what's out there, understand the problem, and then go back and solve it. So having this goal of, that I want to create new intellectual property is definitely tougher. And that is something that I think all our young innovators should keep in mind before they start. Thank you, sir. And with that, another concern or question comes to mind is on behalf of all our young innovators, I wanted to ask you, AIM always encourages its students to be the owners of what they create. And that is true for everything, all our competitions as well. Can you shed some light on what has AIM already done so far to enable this, and how can our young innovators leverage these resources?
So, I think first of all, AIM is running several of its sort of challenges in an annual cycle, like the Atal Tinkering Marathon and so on. And these are opportunities for people to look around, find interesting problems, solve them creatively, and while they do that, AIM, along with CPAM, has also created an IPR module to educate oneself on the idea of intellectual property, be it copyright, patent, trademark, whatever form of intellectual property protection one is seeking, can be learned through the resources that AIM has created. And this is really important not only for students, but also for teachers and mentors. So every time you're working on an idea and you have a team, your whole team ought to be knowing the basics of intellectual property protection, and having a dialogue about it, a strategy around it, so that you can act in unison. And the trickiest part in some ways is that if you have decided to protect intellectual property, then it's very important for you to know how do you collaborate with people and talk about your idea such that you can engage people, but you don't give away the core of your intellectual property. This aspect, how to collaborate without giving away the core of your intellectual property, is very important to learn for the entire team very early. And I think AIM has resources to be able to help in that direction.
Thank you, sir. I think that answers a lot of questions that our teachers, mentors, students have. Many of them have concerns on whether we can showcase our innovation somewhere, but what about our IP? So there are ways to do that, and you can still collaborate even without giving your intellectual property away. And there are many resources that we also offer you for that. With this collaboration with CPAM, we will enable you further to apply for your patent, maybe even get a patent filed and granted. Thank you so much, sir, for answering our questions. These are
But
the
can
two
I
main
add?
questions.
Can I
Yes,
add
of
one
course.
thing? Can I
Yes.
just underscore that it's really important it's really important to not be overly protective or protective in ways where people sort of discard you as somebody so naive that you would not at all collaborate because you are so afraid of giving away intellectual property. So please understand that without collaboration, you can't solve large problems. Therefore, you must learn to collaborate while protecting your intellectual property. I think this balance is really the core of it.
Yes, and we will continue to help you achieve that balance from Atal Innovation Mission. Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering questions. We also have Ms. Pearl Sopti here with us. Ms. Pearl is an experienced IP professional and works as Assistant Vice President in CPAM. Having completed her Master's in Science of Pharmacy from Punjab University, she went on to work with top pharmaceutical companies of the country for over 17 years. She has an extensive experience in the field of intellectual property and is also a registered patent agent. Ms. Pearl, welcome to this session. We are very happy to have you here with us. I would just like to check if you can hear me.
Hi. Are you able to hear me, Swati?
Yes.
So actually, I joined from Kajal's because my system just got hanged. So I'm joining from Kajal's laptop.
Okay, sure. But we're not able to see you. Is there any way we can see you?
Just a second. It says allow access. Just a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry for the
Great.
technical glitches.
No problem. Happens to all of us. Yes. Welcome to the session, ma'am. We just heard from Dr. Chintan Vaishnav on two very important questions that most of our students have. We would also like to hear from you, with the increasing focus on innovation research and cross-border collaborations that we continue to see these days. How important is it for students to learn about intellectual property to safeguard their inventions? And have you noticed an inquisitiveness about IPR increasing amongst students and the student community, teachers and mentors as well? Have you seen that awareness grow and that inquisitiveness grow over the last few years? And what do you have to say about how we can, further this thought process and this awareness?
At the outset, Swati, thank you so much for your question. And it's always pleasure to collaborate with Atal Innovation Mission. And we look forward to this collaboration further ahead and taking it to the next level. And regarding your question about inquisitiveness about IP, this is like maybe an anecdote which I would like to share. Around 20 years back, when I started career with IP, there were people who didn't even know which field am I going to. So they were inquisitive about patent. They were like questioning me, why patent, why didn't you choose R&D? So that was the landscape 20 years back. And now when you see any policy announcements, whether it's budget, whether it's foreign policy, foreign relations, for IP is at the forefront. So that's how IP has developed in India over the years. So that's one part. And now coming to on academics part. So as you would know that most of technical educations have IP as their part of their curriculum. Now we intend that it should move to the next level, wherein the senior secondary or the middle program schools should also focus on IP. And Atal Innovation Mission, through their Atal Tinkering Labs, is doing a great job. That you are able to connect to people, you are able to connect to students who would learn more, and they are taking this initiatives, they are interested in IP. And another anecdote which I would like to share with you, it was recently my son was questioning me, if I have a database, why don't you think I should do a copyright and a patent? So he didn't understand what should be the better option for him, whether he should go for copyright and or patent. So this is like so he was trying to understand why do you need a brand for it, why do you. And similarly, when we even interact with Atal Tinkering Lab students, we understand how inquisitive they are, that I have this product, whether I should go for a design, whether I should file for a patent. And I believe the trainings which we are providing, the awareness which we are creating for these people, is keeping them more aware about their rights. They are inquisitive that if I develop a product, whether I should get it protected, which right should I protect it through. So that's how the IP regime and our awareness, because unless and until awareness reaches to the grassroots level or to the students, we would not be able to take advantage of our demography, a young demography, which is the base of startups, innovators, inventors. So we have to take advantage of that demography. For that, it is necessary that we create awareness amongst them. That's a base and on which they build upon.
Very true, Ms. Sopti. We have also noticed that, and we realize, and just like you mentioned, that this awareness should be at the grassroots and should start at a young age, probably in school education itself. But according to you, what right now are the major challenges that we face while implementing this in a country such as ours? And what do you envision are the solutions or the way ahead for us in the future to enable more and more innovators to secure their IP or just to be aware of it?
So one of the problems or challenges which I believe is that reaching to the rural areas or tier 2, tier 2, 3 cities, even tier 1 students are, even though inquisitive, they sometimes do not find the right platform wherein they could touch upon. But still, when we go to say for GIs, which is like a rich cultural heritage and which is placed at rural area. But till that time, the students of rural area are not aware of their cultural heritage and how they can protect that. Then it is difficult to connect even to the artisans. So I believe reaching to the grassroots level is one of the challenges we should really focus upon. And how to go about it, I believe teachers training program could be one way at targeting it, because if we train say teachers of rural areas, then we are touching all the students of that area in one go. Another could be a language barrier, because explaining IP in a language which is simpler enough for the students to understand, making that interesting, that is one part. But now coming to translating that language into regional language, that could be a barrier which would be need to be handled very tactically, so that we do not lose that interest, we do not lose the content, but still able to connect to those rural areas, those language barriers. So that's, I believe, are the way forwards which we should work on. In that, many ministries like MIT, even Atal Innovation Mission, CPAM, are working towards translating the resource materials into regional languages, so that at least the material is available at the grassroots level and in all the available languages, so that it is easy accessible material for those kids. Even though understanding would be a difficult thing, but let's try to make those resource materials available in regional languages and easily accessible to them.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sopti. Some very notable suggestions given by you. And I'm sure with your experience, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav's collective repository of knowledge and experience that you've shared with us today has added a lot of value to us as the ATL team who are managing this program, as well as to all the ATL community, which includes students, teachers, and mentors from across the country. And the suggestions mentioned by both of you, I'm sure we as the ATL team will definitely consider implementing it, because it is our collective goal as AIM and CPAM to raise awareness on this important issue and to enable the protection of IP of our young innovators. Thank you so much for your time, both of you. We will now move on to our next segment, where we have an ATL student innovator. He is an alumni of the ATL community. His name is Ravinder Bishnoi. Welcome, Ravinder. So Ravinder has been successfully granted a patent recently for one of his innovations, and he's here to talk to us about the same. Ravinder has been granted the patent for his innovation titled Vehicle Horn Control Assembly. His innovation was amongst the top 30 innovations of ATL Marathon 2018 and was one of the top 6 innovations in the smart mobility category. He attended one of the ATL boot camps conducted by AIM, wherein he learned more about the IPR filing process. He had filed for the patent on 2nd of August 2018 and was granted the patent on 18th April 2022, very recently. Congratulations for this, Ravinder. It's a great achievement. He is also now associated with another program of AIM called the Atal Community Innovation Center, ACIC RISE, located in Mohali, and they are further helping and supporting his innovation journey. So Ravinder, we would love to hear from you. Please share more about this journey with our students. How did you develop this innovation, and how was your process of protecting your intellectual property?
Sure, ma'am. First of all, thank you so much, Swati ma'am. Thank you, Vaishnav sir, and thank you all the hostess for inviting me here. So सबसे पहले हम स्टार्ट करते हैं कि मेरी जो ATL की जर्नी है वो कहाँ से स्टार्ट हुई। मैं काफ़ी सालों से इन्वेंशंस वगैरह वाला काम करता रहा हूँ, मतलब बहुत मेरा पहले से इंटरेस्ट है इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, रोबोटिक्स, इन सब में। और जो मैं पहले स्कूल में था 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th क्लास तक मैं ये सब सीखता रहा। नॉर्मली मैंने उस समय मेरे पास कोई सीखने का जरिया नहीं था, जैसे कोई एक पर्टिकुलर कोई कोच हो गया या मेंटर हो गया, तो मैंने हमेशा इंटरनेट और यूट्यूब से ही सीखा। उसके बाद जब मैंने केंद्रीय विद्यालय एयरफोर्स स्टेशन जैसलमेर में एडमिशन लिया, तब मुझे एक अटल इनोवेशन मिशन की स्कीम या आप कहे तो कंपटीशन के बारे में पता चला, जिसका नाम था अटल टिंकरिंग मैराथन, जो शायद 2017 में उसका पहला एडिशन था अटल टिंकरिंग मैराथन का। और मैंने उसमें पार्ट लिया और बहुत ही खुशी की बात थी मेरे लिए कि वहाँ पे सबसे पहले रामानंद जो सर, जो पहले मिशन डायरेक्टर थे, उन्होंने अनाउंस किया था टॉप 100 टीम्स। उसके बाद उन्होंने अनाउंस किया टॉप 30 टीम्स, और होपफुली मेरा जो इन्वेंशन था वो टॉप 30 टीम में था। तो मैं आपको सबसे पहले थोड़ा ब्रीफ देना चाहूंगा कि मेरा इन्वेंशन क्या था। उसके बाद मैं जर्नी शेयर करना चाहूंगा कि कैसे ATL ने मेरे को हेल्प किया, कैसे मुझे पेटेंट्स वगैरह के बारे में पता चला, और कैसे आज मैं आपको दिखाना चाहूंगा पेटेंट भी मैं पास में लेके बैठा था कि एक वक्त के लिए आप सभी देख पाए कि ये जो पेटेंट मुझे ग्रांट हुआ है, तो कैसे ये मुझे एम के द्वारा, मतलब एम के सपोर्ट की वजह से मिल पाया। तो हम सब ने देखा होगा कि एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, जैसे कि हम ट्रैफिक सिग्नल्स के ऊपर वेट कर रहे होते हैं जब आगे टाइमर चल रहा होता है, तो हम देखते हैं कि लोग फ्रस्ट्रेशन में हॉर्न बजाते हैं, या फिर कहीं पे भी ऐसी जगह हो जहाँ पे लिखा होता है कि हॉर्न बजाना मना है। अभी देखो, अगर हम देखें कि नॉइज पोल्यूशन को देख के, कि अगर हम किसी को मना कर रहे हैं कि हॉर्न बजाना नहीं है, फिर भी लोग वहाँ पे हॉर्न बजाते हैं। अभी हमारे पास एक ही सॉल्यूशन है कि हम एक बोर्ड लगा सकते हैं, हॉर्न प्रोहिबिटेड एरिया, और हमारे पास कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं है। तो उस चीज को रोकने के लिए मैंने एक ऐसा डिवाइस बनाया था जो कि क्या करता है, जैसे आपने सबने देखा होगा मोबाइल फोन के जो सिग्नल जैमर्स होते हैं, कोई एग्जाम हो रहा होता है तो एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में सिग्नल जैम कर दिए जाते हैं। वैसे ही जो मेरा डिवाइस है वो एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया में उसकी एक रेंज हम सेट कर सकते हैं। उस पर्टिकुलर एरिया में जितने भी कार्स होंगे उन सबका हॉर्न या तो वो कंप्लीटली ब्लॉक कर सकता है और या फिर उन सब हॉर्न्स की डेसिमल को कम कर सकता है। कंप्लीटली ब्लॉक करना कुछ-कुछ जगह पे फिजिबल हो सकता है, हर जगह पे नहीं हो सकता। क्योंकि जैसे हम देखते हैं कि ट्रैफिक सिग्नल वाला एरिया है तो वहाँ पे मोस्टली कार खड़ी रहती है, वहाँ पे चल नहीं रही होती या चल भी रही होती तो बहुत धीरे-धीरे चल रही होती है। तो वहाँ पे हम हॉर्न को कंप्लीटली ब्लॉक कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि वहाँ पे अगर कंप्लीटली ब्लॉक कर सकते हैं। पर जैसे कोई एक एरिया है, हॉर्न प्रोहिबिटेड एरिया, मिलिट्री एरिया है, उसके बाहर से कोई रोड जा रहा है, अगर वहाँ पे हमने कंप्लीटली हॉर्न ब्लॉक कर दिया, तो फिर हो सकता है कि कोई वहाँ से रोड क्रॉस कर रहा है, तो एक्सीडेंट हो सकता है। तो उस टाइम हॉर्न कंप्लीटली ब्लॉक नहीं होगा, उसके डेसिमल्स वगैरह कम हो जाएँगे। इसके काफ़ी सारे मतलब अलग-अलग जगह पे ये अलग-अलग तरीके से सिस्टम वर्क करता है। तो ये जब मेरा इन्वेंशन हुआ, जब मैंने ये इन्वेंशन किया अपनी 11th क्लास के एंड में, 12th क्लास के स्टार्टिंग में, तब मुझे कोई भी आइडिया नहीं था पेटेंट का, क्या होता है पेटेंट, क्या डिज़ाइन पेटेंट होता है, क्या यूटिलिटी पेटेंट होता है। तो मैंने ये जैसे कि मैंने बताया कि अटल टिंकरिंग मैराथन में ये सबमिट कर दिया था आइडिया। इसके बाद जब मैं टॉप 30 में पहुँचा, टॉप 6 स्मार्ट मोबिलिटी कैटेगरी में, तो अटल इनोवेशन मिशन के द्वारा मुझे अपॉर्च्युनिटी मिली अजय कुमार गर्ग इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में एक बूट कैंप अटेंड करने का। तो वहाँ पे हमें सिखाया गया कि कैसे अपने प्रोडक्ट को मिनिएचराइज़ करते हैं, कैसे उसे मार्केट रेडी करते हैं और उसके बाद लास्ट डे पे एक आईपीआर सेशन था और उस आईपीआर सेशन में मुझे पहली बार पता चला कि पेटेंट जैसा भी कुछ होता है, जिससे कि हम अपनी प्रॉपर्टी को सेफगार्ड कर सकते हैं। जैसे कि वैष्णव सर ने बताया कि जो पेटेंट होता है, वो आपको कराने के लिए सबसे पहले आपको कोलैबोरेटिव होना चाहिए। मतलब आपको खुल के बताना होगा कि आपने बनाया क्या है, आपको या तो किसी के साथ कोलैब करना होगा या एट लीस्ट आपको जो जो पेटेंट एजेंट होता है या फिर जो पेटेंट वाली कंपनी होती है, उनके साथ तो आपको खुल के बताना होता है कि आपने क्या बनाया है और पूरा इनोवेशन डिस्क्लोज़र होता है। तो वो मैंने सबसे पहले किया। उसके बाद हमने 2nd ऑफ अगस्त 2018 को पेटेंट फाइल किया, जो कि आज 4 साल बाद 18th अप्रैल 2022 को ग्रांट हुआ। अगर मैं आपको बताऊँ कि जैसे कि अगर ऐसे बहुत सारे कॉम्पिटिशन्स होते हैं अटल इनोवेशन मिशन के, मैं अटल इनोवेशन मिशन को 2018 से फॉलो कर रहा हूँ। तो मैं देखता रहता हूँ कि काफ़ी सारे कॉम्पिटिशन्स होते हैं स्कूल वाले बच्चों के लिए या फिर कॉलेज वाले बच्चों के लिए। ऑब्वियसली अब स्कूल वालों में मैं पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर सकता। करंटली मैं जैसे कि स्वाति मैम ने बताया कि मैं अटल कम्युनिटी इनोवेशन सेंटर एसीआईसी राइज सीईसी लांड्रा में एसोसिएटेड हूँ। वहाँ पे मेरा एक स्टार्टअप है, कीकी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड नाम से, जो कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के अंडर कंपनी भी रजिस्टर्ड है। तो उस स्टार्टअप में मैं काम कर रहा हूँ, जो ये डिवाइस जिसका मेरे को अभी पेटेंट मिला है, वो और साथ ही साथ मैंने 6-7 पेटेंट और फाइल किए, जो कि मेरे जो करंट डिवाइस है। बेसिकली हमने एक प्रॉब्लम देखी होगी कि बहुत बार हम जब बाइक चला रहे होते हैं, तो हम उसका स्टैंड ऊपर करना भूल जाते हैं, तो उसकी वजह से काफ़ी सारे एक्सीडेंट हो जाते हैं। तो जो मेरा करंट इन्वेंशन है, जिसके ऊपर मैंने काफ़ी पेटेंट्स फाइल किए हैं और वो सारे पेटेंट फास्ट ट्रैक एप्लीकेशन में है, तो होपफुली उनका जल्दी रिजल्ट आ जाए, तो उसके बाद हम उसको मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करना स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं। तो जो मेरा इन्वेंशन है वो क्या करता है कि जैसे ही हम बाइक को स्टार्ट करेंगे तो हमारा जो साइड स्टैंड है वो ऑटोमेटिकली ऊपर हो जाएगा और जैसे ही हम बाइक को पार्क करेंगे तो वो ऑटोमेटिकली नीचे हो जाएगा। इससे क्या है ना कि बहुत सारी जो एक्सीडेंट्स की पॉसिबिलिटी होती है, जो साइड स्टैंड की वजह से हो जाते हैं, बाइक डिसबैलेंस हो जाती है, तो वो सारी मिटिगेट्स हो सकती है। तो यही सारी मेरी जर्नी रही है और हमेशा से ही आप अगर ऑब्जर्व करें कि 2018 नीति आयोग का ही वो कॉम्पिटिशन था अटल टिंकरिंग मैराथन और वहां से लेके एटीएल लैब की वजह से मुझे काफी सारे जो मॉडर्न एज इक्विपमेंट्स है, बहुत सारे अच्छे अच्छे सेंसर्स है, उन सब के बारे में पता चला और उन सारे सेंसर्स को यूज करके मैंने स्कूल में भी काफी इन्वेंशंस किए और वहां से लेके आज अटल कम्युनिटी इनोवेशन सेंटर में भी मैं जो अपने स्टार्टअप के ऊपर काम कर रहा हूँ। ये सारी की सारी जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज है वो मुझे नीति आयोग ने प्रोवाइड की और नीति आयोग हमेशा से ये ट्राई करता आ रहा है कि मतलब बहुत सारे बच्चे इनके साथ एसोसिएटेड हो और इनके काफ़ी सारे कॉम्पिटिशन आते हैं, मैं भी पार्ट लेता हूँ। एक करंटली कुछ टाइम पहले एक कॉम्पिटिशन हुआ था इन क्वेस्ट ऑफ सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स आइडियाथॉन 2022, उसमें भी ऑल इंडिया रैंक 1 था हमारा, जिसमें जो अभी मैंने बाइक स्टैंड वाला जो आपको बताया, वही मेरा इन्वेंशन मैंने उसमें प्रेज़ेंट किया था और उसी में ऑल इंडिया रैंक 1 था। तो ये थी मेरी एक छोटी-सी जर्नी। थैंक यू अटल इनोवेशन मिशन मेरे को एक यहाँ पे प्लेटफॉर्म देने के लिए, ताकि मैं सबको यहाँ पे मोटिवेट कर पाऊँ कि आप भी एक इनोवेटिव अप्रोच इस्तेमाल करके एक पेटेंट ले सकते हैं और वो जो पेटेंट है उसकी मदद से आप एक कोई कम्युनिटी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सो मच रविंदर फॉर शेयरिंग योर जर्नी विद अस। बहुत ही इंस्पायरिंग थी हमारे लिए और सारे बच्चों के लिए, आई थिंक, जो सुन रहे हैं ये, कि ये सब हर कोई कर सकता है। इट्स नॉट समथिंग दैट दे शुड बी स्केयर्ड ऑफ। इट्स अचीवेबल, इट्स डूएबल बाय एवरीवन। with no language as a barrier, no state या कोई और concern नहीं होता. अगर आपका idea अच्छा है तो आपको भी patent मिल सकता है. आप भी startup बना सकते हो, आप entrepreneur बन सकते हो. Thank you for sharing that inspiring story with us. And आप alumni हो एक, आप ATL में थे, अब आप graduate कर चुके हो school से. तो बाकी भी जो ऐसे alumni हैं जो हमें सुन रहे हैं आज, it's my request to all of you. You are the ambassadors now of this program. Please go ahead, speak to the ATLs in your region. You know, you are their mentor. You have been there, done that. आप उनको कोच करिए, हेल्प करिए, ताकि वो भी आपके जैसे आगे बन पाए, ऐसे सोच पाए कि प्रॉब्लम्स देख के इनका सोल्यूशन बन सकता है. Thank you so much, Ravinder. With that, just as a closing note, I wanted to request Dr. Chintan Vaishnav and Ms. Pearl Sopti for your final thoughts and comments before we end the session.
Thank you very much, Swati. And thank you, CPAM also, and Ms. Sopti for your remarks. And most of all, Ravinder, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया and very enchanted. फिर एक बार आपके innovations को सुन के it was wonderful to see you at ACIC also. और आप जो हैं बच्चों के लिए बड़ा एक इंस्पिरेशन है, क्योंकि जब तक आपके जैसे लोग ऐसे शो में नहीं होते तो ऐसा लगता है कि ये सिर्फ बातें हैं, लेकिन आप जब आ जाते हो तो ऐसा लगता है कि हाँ ये भी हो सकता है. तो बहुत अच्छा लगा सुन के. ऑल द बेस्ट विशेस आपके और भी जो पैटेंट्स पाइपलाइन में हैं उसके लिए, और एंड विश यू मेनी मेनी मोर टू कम. वंस अगेन
थैंक यू.
हाँ, बहुत बहुत and to everyone on this call or on this stream, I think it's imperative that आप लोग भी इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी प्रोटेक्शन के बारे में जितना ही जल्दी हो सके उसको जानें, और फिर एक इन्फॉर्म्ड डिसीजन लें कि आपको क्या करना है. और इसके जो रिसोर्सेस हैं जैसे पहले बताया गया वो आपको उपलब्ध हैं. अटल इनोवेशन मिशन इज ऑलवेज देयर टू हेल्प. सो thank you, and it's great to be with you. And maybe I should hand it to Ms. Sopti.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vaishnav. And रविंदर, सही में आपकी इन्वेंशन सुन के ऐसा लगता है कि हमारे इंडिया में जो हम कहते हैं कि इनोवेटिव इकोसिस्टम बहुत स्ट्रांग है. आप जैसे लोगों की वजह से ही हम लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि हमारे यहाँ इनोवेशन कल्चर, इनोवेशन इकोसिस्टम बहुत स्ट्रांग है. And I completely agree with whatever Dr. Vaishnav said. Just to add on, जो भी बच्चे सुन रहे हैं इस स्ट्रीमिंग को, इस कॉल को, I would request them कि IP अपने आप आ जाएगा, लेकिन पहले start thinking differently. Start thinking कि हाँ हम कुछ कर सकते हैं, हमारे में कोई प्रॉब्लम है जिसका हमें solution find out करना है. Once you approach a problem like this, then IP would follow you. There are several resources available. There is Atal Tinkering Lab, there is DPIIT, there is CG Office. All of them are there to help you assist in your filing their protection. But पहला step आपको लेना पड़ेगा जिसमें आपको अलग तरीके से सोचना है. So looking forward to Innovative India and Creative India. Efforts of all the ministries and all the students will only lead to an innovation ecosystem which is worldwide, globally recognized. And we aim to have among top 25 global economies. उस सब के लिए आप सब जैसे बच्चों का बहुत बड़ा contribution होगा, because you are the future of India. Thank you so much, Swati. Thank you, Atal Innovation Mission. We would love to collaborate further. We would love to take this collaboration to the next level. Looking forward to more such collaborations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav, Ms. Pearl Sopti, and Ravinder for joining us today, for sharing your experiences and your thoughts. It has been our pleasure to host all of you. And to all those watching us, stay tuned. There will be lots happening in collaboration with CPAM, and we will handhold you every step of the way to ensure that your IP is also protected. Thank you. Keep innovating, keep tinkering, and have a great evening. Thank you so much.